When it comes to motorcycles, speed is fun. Comfort is nice. But reliability? That's the real flex. Especially if you're a middle aged guy who just wants to ride hard, ride far, and not worry about calling a tow truck halfway through Utah. Today, we're counting down the 7 most reliable sport touring motorcycles ever built. These are bikes that don't just go fast, they go forever. Let's get into it. Number 7, Ducati ST4s. All right, let's get something out of the way first. When most people hear Ducati and reliable in the same sentence, they either laugh or check to see if you've had one too many beers. Ducati, for all its beauty, has never been known as the poster child of worry-free ownership. But the ST4s? Oh, that's a different story. The Ducati ST4s was Ducati's attempt to grow up a bit. It wasn't trying to be the flashy showpiece of the cafe crowd. It was designed for the rider who wanted to go fast and far. We're talking about real sport touring here, not a superbike with clip-ons and back pain. Under the fairings, the ST4s packs a liquid-cooled, fuel-injected 996cc Desmo Quattro engine, the same power plant found in the Ducati 9996 superbike. That's right, this thing shares DNA with a race bike. But instead of being a twitchy, high-strung track monster, the ST4s tunes that power for the street. It's smooth, muscular, and incredibly rewarding on the open road. But here's the catch. Like any Ducati, the ST4s needs love. Not just the check the oil every few thousand miles kind of love. This is Desmo love. Valve adjustments every 6,000 miles, timing belts every 2 years. You don't just own a Ducati, you commit to it. You have to be a rider and a caretaker, a pilot and a priest. And for those who are willing to do that, the ST4s gives back in a big way. The ride quality is sublime. It's got fully adjustable Showa suspension front and rear, Brembo brakes that'll stop a freight train, ergonomics that actually work for long hauls, something Ducati doesn't always get right. And the sound, that signature dry clutch rattle, followed by the deep, throaty rumble of the L-twin when you crack the throttle. It's not just music, it's a symphony with Italian subtitles. Long distance? Absolutely. With factory-hard luggage, a decent windscreen, and a relatively relaxed riding triangle, this thing is built to eat miles with style. And when you hit the twisties, you'll forget you're on a touring bike at all. It dances, it carves, it seduces. But let's be real, this isn't the bike for everyone. The ST4s asks for your attention. It's not a set-it-and-forget-it machine like a Honda ST1300. If you neglect it, it'll make you pay. But if you stay on top of maintenance, this bike rewards you with something truly special, a Ducati that can go the distance. Number 6, Triumph Sprint S1050. If there were ever a bike that deserved more respect than it got, it's the Triumph Sprint ST1050. It didn't have the flash of a Ducati or the badge cachet of a BMW. It wasn't plastered on magazine covers or drooled over in forums. But for riders who really knew what they were looking for, it was a masterpiece hiding in plain sight. Let's start with the heart of it, the 1050cc inline triple engine. This is arguably one of the greatest motorcycle engines ever made. It has the low-end grunt of a twin and the top-end zing of a 4. But what makes it special is that it lives in the sweet spot in between. Smooth, linear, and just enough attitude to remind you it's British. You twist the throttle and it delivers, consistently, predictably, and with a soulful growl that sounds like James Bond clearing his throat. That triple doesn't just run, it sings. And it's been known to do so for 100,000 miles or more without skipping a beat. Now let's talk about reliability. Triumph in the 2000s was on a roll. They had ironed out their early issues from the 90s and were building bikes that didn't just perform. They lasted. The Sprint ST1050 is a perfect example. Owners routinely report high-mileage bikes with minimal drama. Oil changes, chain care, brake fluid flushes, do your part, and this thing will do its job, day in and day out. It's not just reliable in terms of longevity, it's reliable on the ride. You know that feeling when a bike just feels planted? stable through sweepers, confident under braking, predictable when loaded with luggage and a passenger. That's the Sprint. It doesn't surprise you, it supports you. And when you're 300 miles into a day and still feeling fresh, you start to realize what kind of machine you're riding. And let's not forget comfort. The riding position hits that sweet middle ground, sporty, but not punishing. It's forward enough that you feel engaged, but upright enough that your wrists and back won't hate you. Add in decent wind protection, a plush seat, and factory panniers, and you've got a serious tourer in disguise. Another perk? This bike is criminally undervalued on the used market. You can pick up a solid Sprint ST for under $4,000, sometimes even less. That's a whole lot of motorcycle for the money. It's the kind of deal that makes you feel like you're getting away with something. A high performance, low maintenance sport tourer with character for the price of a new iPhone. Serviceability is another strong point. This isn't one of those bikes where you need to remove half the fairing to change a spark plug. Triumph built this with riders in mind. Regular maintenance is straightforward, parts are still widely available, and the online community is incredibly helpful. You'll find plenty of seasoned Sprint owners willing to share advice, tips, and encouragement. But perhaps the best thing about the Sprint ST1050 is that it just gets out of your way. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't need constant tuning or pampering. It just starts, runs, and gets you where you need to go. Fast, comfortably, and with a smile on your face. It's a no-nonsense motorcycle in the best possible way. No drama, no ego. Just dependable, triple-powered performance that you can count on, ride after ride, year after year. And if you happen to park it next to a bunch of high-dollar sport tourers, let them have their bragging rights. You'll be too busy riding. Number 5, Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX. This is one of those bikes that makes you do a double take. Not because it's flashy, but because once you ride it, you realize Kawasaki wasn't messing around. The Ninja 1000 SX is a sport bike in touring gear, a long-haul machine with a hooligan's heart, and above all, a reminder that performance and reliability don't have to be opposites. Let's start with the aesthetics. At first glance, the Ninja 1000 SX looks like your typical sport bike. Aggressive lines, low-slung profile, sharp fairings. But spend 5 minutes on the saddle, and it becomes clear. This isn't some track-focused torture rack. This is a gentleman's express, a 140 horsepower rocket that can take you from Monday commute to cross-country haul without breaking a sweat. But what makes it truly great is how complete it feels. It doesn't sacrifice one part of the riding experience for another. You get full throttle exhilaration when you want it, but you also get cruise control, heated grips, a cushy seat, and factory luggage options for those 500-mile days. This is a sport tourer in the purest sense. No compromises, no apologies. Now let's talk reliability. It's a Kawasaki, and that means it's tough, really tough. The 1043cc inline-4 engine is a proven platform, used in multiple bikes across Kawasaki's lineup for years, and it's known for its resilience. It doesn't run hot, it doesn't guzzle oil, it doesn't rattle or wheeze or make you wonder what that noise was halfway through Wyoming. What it does do is start every time, pull hard from 4,000 RPM to redline, and shrug off abuse like a bouncer in a rainstorm. This bike was built with durability in mind. The electronics are refined and stable. Traction control, cornering ABS, riding modes, all integrated, not gimmicky. You don't see owners flooding forums with complaints. You see them sharing photos from their latest 1,000-mile ride, grinning ear to ear with bug-splattered windscreens. Chain drive? Solid. Clutch? Light and long-lasting. Electronics? Reliable and easy to navigate. In a world where some bikes make you feel like you're babysitting, the 1000 SX feels like a partner. It has your back, whether you're dodging potholes in the city or carving through mountain passes at sunrise. It's also incredibly rider-friendly. Not in a beginner bike kind of way, but in that beautiful middle ground where you don't have to fight the bike to enjoy it. The handling is neutral and intuitive. The brakes are sharp without being twitchy. The throttle response is smooth, and the bike doesn't punish you for being human. And here's the kicker: this machine offers real world performance you can use. Plenty of bikes will give you more horsepower or more gizmos, but how many will let you ride hard and ride long without needing a chiropractor or a battery tender every other weekend? The Ninja 1000 SX is a bike you can wake up to every day and actually want to ride. Commute with it, tour with it, hit the twisties with it, then park it and forget about it until the next ride. This is a bike that doesn't beg for attention. It earns respect over time. Every ride, every mile, every oil change proves that Kawasaki built something special, something that lasts. So yeah, maybe it's not the loudest or the most exotic, but the Ninja 1000 SX is the kind of motorcycle that shows up, puts in the work, and brings you home with a grin on your face and fuel still in the tank. And in the world of sport touring, that's the real flex. Number 4, Yamaha FJR1300. This is where the game changes. The Yamaha FJR1300 isn't just a reliable sport touring bike. It's the blueprint, the gold standard, the bike that every long distance rider respects, even if they've never swung a leg over one. You don't just ride an FJR, you commit to it, because once you own one, it's very, very hard to let it go. Let's start with the basics. A liquid-cooled 1,298cc inline-4 that delivers smooth, linear torque across the rev range. It's fast, but not frantic. Capable of effortless passing at 80 miles per hour and still polite in slow traffic. It doesn't care if you're on a twisty mountain road or a straight desert highway. It just does the job over and over again. But here's what makes the FJR 1300 special. Yamaha built it to last forever. Seriously. Go on any sport touring forum. Ask about longevity. The FJR has one of the most bulletproof reputations out there. Engines regularly hit 150,000, 200,000 miles with nothing more than routine oil changes, valve checks, and tire swaps. You don't hear stories of catastrophic failures. You hear stories of retirees riding theirs across entire continents and back. And a big reason for that? Shaft drive. No chain maintenance, no lube schedule, no mess, just quiet, smooth power transfer that feels like riding a monorail with handlebars. Shaft drives are notorious for making bikes heavier, but the FJR manages to stay surprisingly nimble thanks to clever chassis geometry and balanced weight distribution. The ergonomics are pure comfort science. Adjustable handlebars, electrically adjustable windshield, heated grips, a seat that's actually meant for humans, not mannequins. And let's not forget the factory hard luggage, lockable, waterproof, and big enough for a weekend trip or a week-long odyssey. But don't think the FJR is just a couch on wheels. Twist the throttle, and this thing moves. It'll go from 0 to jail in seconds if you're not careful. It has real sport bike DNA hiding under all that touring gear, and it absolutely will surprise you in the corners. Fast sweepers, tight hairpins, high-speed interstates, it eats them all. And here's the best part. It does all of that without drama. The throttle is smooth, the brakes are strong and predictable. The suspension, especially on the ES models, is adjustable and responsive. The electronics? Minimal but functional. Cruise control, traction control, ABS. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Yamaha kept the tech simple, which is exactly why it works so well. There's a reason the FJR 1300 was a favorite among law enforcement agencies. Police bikes need to be reliable, comfortable, and fast, day after day, in every kind of weather, over every kind of road. The FJR passed that test with flying colors. And here's the kicker. Despite all that performance and dependability, these bikes are still incredibly affordable on the used market. You can find clean, low-mileage examples for under $6,000. That's insane when you think about what you're getting. A high-performance sport tourer that's practically indestructible. Number 3, BMW R1150RT. All right, time to talk about the gentleman's choice, the BMW R1150RT. If the Yamaha FJR1300 is the bullet train of sport touring, the R1150RT is the vintage Rolex. Understated, elegant, built to last longer than you do. Now let's address the elephant in the garage. BMW has a reputation for making bikes that are, let's say, quirky. And yeah, some of their more modern machines have had reliability hiccups. But the R1150 RT, this thing is a masterpiece of German engineering. It's not just a motorcycle, it's a statement. First, that engine. A 1,130cc air oil cooled boxer twin, classic BMW layout. It's not the fastest engine in the world, but that's not the point. It's the feel. That horizontal piston punch, that rock solid torque down low, the kind of mechanical rhythm that feels like it's coming from a locomotive built in the 1950s. Smooth, predictable, and with a soundtrack that's more mechanical symphony than race replica screamer. And that boxer engine, it just keeps going. There are riders out there with over 200,000 miles on these bikes, still touring, still taking on mountain passes and desert flats like it's just another Tuesday. Change the oil, do your valve checks, and this bike will treat you like family. A stubborn, slightly expensive German uncle, maybe, but family nonetheless. Now let's talk about comfort. BMW knew their riders weren't just doing Sunday coffee runs. They were doing journeys. So they built the R1150 RT around the idea that you might spend 10 hours in the saddle, willingly. The seat is plush without being squishy. The ergonomics are upright but relaxed. Your legs get room to breathe, your arms don't get punished, and your back, it'll thank you. The fairing is a work of art. That massive, swooping front end looks like it belongs on a starship, and it works like one too. It cuts through wind, rain, and whatever else the road throws at you. There's an electrically adjustable windshield, fancy for its time and still appreciated today. You can raise or lower it on the fly, depending on your speed or how loud the wind is getting in your helmet. It's a little detail, but when you're 400 miles into a ride, it matters. Now, no BMW is without its quirks. The servo-assisted ABS system on the R1150 RT can be, well, a bit temperamental. It's not bad, just sensitive. Some riders love it, others bypass it. And yeah, BMW parts aren't cheap, but they're built to a standard, not a price point. And that means the parts you do need, they last. A final drive might run you a few $100, but you probably won't need to replace it for 100,000 miles. Number 2, Honda VFR 800 Interceptor. The Honda VFR 800. Interceptor by name, legend by reputation. If motorcycles were a family, the VFR would be the dependable older brother who graduated with honors, bench pressed 300 pounds, and still shows up at every family reunion in a crisp shirt and a firm handshake. This bike is everything riders love about motorcycling, wrapped into one machine: performance, reliability, comfort, sound, and soul. Let's start with the heart of the beast, Honda's iconic 781cc V4 engine. This thing is mechanical poetry. It's not just that it makes great power across the rev range, it's how it delivers that power. The V4 layout gives it a beautiful balance between torque and top-end surge. Down low, it's smooth and confident. Up top, it sings with a unique character that inline fours just can't match. And the gear-driven cams? That's Honda flexing. No timing chains to stretch or worry about. Just pure, whirring mechanical precision. The sound they produce is intoxicating, like a turbine spinning up or a vintage race machine coming alive. It's one of those bikes where you blip the throttle at a red light just because you like the way it talks back. But the VFR 800 isn't just about engine notes and smooth delivery. It's about refinement. The throttle response is crisp, the fueling is spot on, and everything about the way the bike rides makes you feel like you're on something built by people who actually ride. Now, reliability? Off the charts. This is a Honda after all. But even by Honda standards, the VFR is built like it was over-engineered on purpose. Owners regularly put 100,000 miles on these bikes without anything more than regular oil changes, chain maintenance, and the occasional valve check. The VTEC system, introduced in later models, does add some complexity, but it's not the deal breaker some feared. If anything, it just makes the bike more versatile, smooth and calm under 6,500 RPM, and then bam! A little extra roar when the cams engage. Comfort-wise, the VFR is the sweet spot between sport bike and tourer. You're not hunched over like on a CBR, but you're not bolt upright like on a Goldwing either. It's a forward lean, but a comfortable one, perfect for carving twisties or chewing through miles on the highway. The seat is plush enough for a full day's ride, and the wind protection is surprisingly good for such a sleek, low-profile fairing. Add in optional hard bags, and you've got a true sport tourer that doesn't compromise on fun. You can hit the canyons on Saturday, throw on your panniers Sunday morning, and ride 500 miles home in one go without feeling like you got body slammed by the pavement. Handling? Let's just say this. The VFR 800 carves corners like a chef with a brand new Japanese knife. Neutral, stable, predictable. The chassis is stiff enough for aggressive riding, but compliant enough to forgive you when you roll over a pothole mid-corner. It's a thinking man's sport bike, a rider's rider machine, not a poser's plaything. It's also a bike with heritage. The VFR nameplate goes back decades, and it has racing DNA built in, trickled down from Honda's endurance racers and refined on the street. It's not just a product, it's a bloodline. Number 1, Honda ST1300, aka the Pan-European. If you've ever sat on a bike for more than 500 miles in one day, you know this truth. Comfort fades, fuel burns, weather shifts, but reliability? That's the only thing that keeps you sane. And the Honda ST1300 is the undisputed champion of that game. This isn't just a motorcycle. It's a purpose-built machine for people who take distance seriously. For riders who pack light, ride hard, and stop only when the gas runs out or the sun disappears. And even then, they're thinking, maybe just another 100 miles. Let's talk heart first. The ST1300 houses a 1,261cc V4 engine that might be one of the smoothest, most unbothered motors ever put into a motorcycle. It's not the kind of engine that screams and howls like a sport bike. It hums, deep, low, confident, like it knows something you don't. It makes a stout 117 horsepower and an even healthier 86 pound-feet of torque. But numbers don't tell the story. The way this bike pulls from low revs, the calm composure at 120 miles per hour, the unshakable steadiness when fully loaded with gear, it's incredible. And it's a V4, like the VFR 800, but turned up and tuned for the long haul. If you're a fan of turbine-smooth power and that low-key burble only a V4 can deliver, the ST1300 is pure music. Now let's talk range. The gas tank? A monster, 7.7 gallons. That means you can go over 300 miles on a single tank. Think about that for a second. While your buddies are stopping for gas, again, you're another state line ahead. Iron butt riders, the maniacs who do 1,000 miles in a day for fun, love this bike for a reason. It was practically built for them. And it's not just about the engine or range. This bike is packed with features that make the ride easier, smoother, smarter. Shaft drive? Yup. No chain lube, no mess, no fuss. Just twist and go. Adjustable windshield? Absolutely. At the push of a button, you can raise or lower it to cut through the wind like a cruise missile, or let the breeze roll over your helmet. Integrated saddlebags? Standard. Fit and finish? Honda? Perfect. Everything clicks, fits, and closes like it was milled from a block of aerospace aluminum. Now, let's be real. It's not a featherweight. At 700 plus pounds wet, the ST1300 is a substantial motorcycle. But you don't feel it at speed. The weight is low-slung, balanced, and confidence-inspiring. Parking lots? Maybe a little awkward. But on the highway, this thing is planted. rock solid, like it's carved a groove into the tarmac and is just following it to wherever you're going, no matter how far that is. And then there's the reputation. You want proof of reliability? There are ST1300s out there with over 250,000 miles on them. Still running, still touring, still doing exactly what they were built to do. I've heard of owners who put 150K on one, sold it, and then bought another. Not because the first one failed, but because they missed it. Maintenance is straightforward. Oil changes, valve checks every so often, coolant flush. That's it. The ST1300 doesn't chew through tires or burn oil. It doesn't break down in the middle of nowhere. It's not finicky. It's the bike that shows up every single time. And you want value? Here's the kicker. You can still find ST1300s for $4,000, $5,000 on the used market. That's less than what people pay for a Vespa. And you're getting a full-bore, continent-crossing motorcycle that will outlast you and your retirement plan. Honda built a lot of these bikes. Police departments around the world use them. They're everywhere, and they're still ticking. It's not sexy. It's not a show-off bike, but it's the kind of motorcycle that wins your respect with every ride. Quietly, consistently, with dignity. The ST1300 is what happens when engineers are given free rein to build something that lasts. No marketing fluff, no gimmicks, just engineering, reliability, and comfort, distilled into two wheels and a V4 engine. So if you're the kind of rider who wants to rack up miles without drama, who values a machine that never quits, who rides rain or shine, sunrise to sunset, the ST1300 isn't just your next bike. It's your last bike. And when all the others are in the shop or up for sale, this one will still be out there, chasing the horizon. If you're looking for the best sport touring motorcycle, don't just look at horsepower or paint jobs. Look at the riders who've taken these bikes across states, across seasons, across decades. Reliability isn't a feature, it's a lifestyle. And if you're serious about the ride, these 7 machines will never leave you stranded. Stay safe, ride far, and keep the shiny side up. I'm Matthew from Autozium, and I'll see you out there.